Yeah, what a beautiful Tuesday morning. Well, today is the 20th of October. Yes, and our WhatsApp is 0550585832. If you happen to be outside Ghana, kindly prefix that with +233.
Now it's time for us to start our day off with some words of inspiration. Let's take a look at our quote this morning.
So the quote of the day today comes from Robert Frost, and he says, "In 3 words, I can sum up everything I have learned about life. It goes on." Wow. In 3 words, I can sum up everything I have learned about life. It goes on. Yeah, it does. It sure does. It goes on, and so what are you going to do with your opportunity as you have life? What you're going to do with your minutes, what you're going to do with your hours, what you're going to do with your days. All of it sums up at the end of the day as life.
Yeah, and yesterday the EC updated us that 12 people will be contesting to lead this country as presidential candidates. Unfortunately, 5 of them could not make the cut. I'm personally women out of the 12 who could potentially become our president.
Well, the interesting thing for me, I look at it and I look at it's exciting to see so many people on the bill, but then you always have to ask yourself, what's the true potential of these actually making it, you know? So many people putting themselves out there and willing to, face the hard knocks that come.
Then they say they are going to give us free water.
Then
in other brackets were going to benefit from this relief. The government subsequently sought the assistance of community water providers to complement the efforts of Ghana Water Company Limited. One of them is the Oyibi Water Scheme. However, managers of the scheme say it may collapse if government does not pay them for the water they have supplied in the past 6 months.
Because I was angry about the whole thing. I thought that the issue for give them free was because as I sit here, we have to go for some loan to pay our staffs. About 11 people or more, we are paying constantly every month. You can't say you won't pay them. You know, things are hard these days. And so you can't owe your staff when they have worked duly for the end of the month and you will not pay them. So I told her that this big river sources, and the government gives them support. Nobody gives you support, but you are added with your little strength. You are told to also join hands with these bigger guys to give free water, and they get money paid by the government. For which reasons, I don't know. Probably they don't want the system of the government to collapse, but they have forgotten that it is the same government.
The managers say government owes 420,000 Ghana cedis, which is affecting their operations.
We have 3 quarters. If one is 70,000, that's what you have, 420,000 Ghana cedis, and nothing has been paid. We are buying what? If this power goes off right now, we have to look for money and buy powers, because without the powers, the machines pump won't work. Even if first quarter money comes, and it is tomorrow, your money is ready. And I'm telling you, nothing has been paid. Our hands are tied, very tied. We have been calling Sida, he said nothing has come. You called the assembly, he was even frustrated. I called my boss the other day, I said, the people say we should give another 3 months. But you know, now I'm tired. You see what can I do? If he
the government can support them, for them to release the water for us free. I think it will help us all. We know we use water is our daily aspect that we always use every day. So if they close the water, in fact, we will suffer. We don't have anywhere to fetch water in Oyibi here apart from the water, this very water, the pipe water.
So there you saw some residents of Oyibi and the challenges that they've been facing. Now let's take a look at those who are in Nyaneba and what they're saying.
For residents of Nyaneba Estate in Accra, Government's free water initiative has been helpful. The decision to provide free water measure to the spread of the virus. Some residents of Nyaniba Estate say they are grateful for the directive by the president to provide free water.
Last lockdown, yes, 3 months. I should be old debts here. I'm the bill back, but say, we need the mimi who say, ya below the
of 100 Ghana cedis, they are judiciously using the water. They, however, complained of the intermittent supply
ask ourselves should be what are the, what's the impact of this free water initiative if majority of people are not benefiting from it. There's actually a research that was done by the Ghana Statistical Service as well as the United Nations Development Program that found that 70 of us continuing on to supply free water. Me, for instance, I live in the East Legon area before this free water initiative, and that's the article. I actually want you guys to read along now that we have it up. So this article is by Ni Ama, and it says it has emerged that as much as 78% of communities in Ghana sampled did not benefit from the government's free water initiative. According to the COVID-19 Local Economies Tracker by the Ghana Statistical Service and the United Nations Development Program, these localities relied on alternative sources of water and were not served by the Ghana Water Company Limited. This meant that government's free water did not make the expected impact. Over 78% of localities sampled did not benefit from the free water supply, while some 25% of targeted communities did not benefit from the subsidies on electricity. So when you see this, you begin to ask yourself, should we continue on with it? Because we've heard, for example, the PRO for Ghana Water Company Limited, Stanley Mate, come out to say multiple times that the reason why some communities are getting water once or twice a week is because there's such high demand for water that they can't possibly meet it all. So I would rather personally pay to get 7 days a week water than no water at all, because what ends up happening is you're spending 3 to 4 times more what you used to pay to these private institutions.
Yeah.
Kwaku, what do you make of this?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not sure what it means to say there's high demand for You know, so when you say that there's a demand for water and therefore not everybody can get, I'm not quite sure how that works. You know, I'm expecting that if it's a logistical issue, if it's a capacity issue, we fix that. Do you see, and make sure that everybody in receiving water receive the water that they're supposed to receive. You know, this business of once a week the water comes, twice a week the water comes. I mean, we need to be able to build our capacity to the point where, you know, there's enough, you know, provision for everybody. Now, it could be an issue of maybe cost to say that, look, we are not charging enough to make water available everywhere. So then let's talk about that. You know, if we have to increase it, let's talk about that. You know, and then if you have to increase it for those who can pay and then subsidize for those who struggle to pay, let's talk about those things. But let's not run away from the situation and service delivery, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And funny enough, last week we found out from the sanitation ministry that this free water 5 million Ghana cedis. You know, and if we are running this country like a business, we would actually measure the output. So you're pumping in all this money. How many people actually benefited from it? How do you justify spending such amount? And if over 70%, almost 80% of households are not benefiting, what's the essence? You know, is it really, as most of us would rather pay to get water, and businesses are struggling because they are all relying on private individuals for free water. So we hope that Ghana will right by Ghanaians by actually not only making sure the water is free, but it flows consistently, because water is life. And if you don't have water, you can't even comply by all these coronavirus protocols that we keep championing. But it's time for us to take a look at the news making the country. We're going to look at the show.
Welcome to News Roundup here in the Upper West region. My name is Latif Mahama. In our first story, a purported pro-NPP Zongo youth group in the Wa municipality of the Upper West region on Monday announced their defection to the main opposition National Democratic Congress. The group, which has a membership of over itself Z-Town, at a press conference on Monday even bemoaned the neglect of the NPP after what they say is dedicated service to the party. Z-Town is one of the most prominent youth group in the Wa municipality of the Upper West region. Members of the group are predominantly from the Zongo community in Wa, the regional capital. Abubakar Mohammed Hashim alleged that some of them were recruited by the NPP to police ballot boxes in the run-up to the 2016 elections. He said they were promised well-paying and sustainable jobs that never materialized after the NPP won power, hence their defection. He also called on all their sympathizers to due to the youth-centered policies contained in their manifesto. In other news, the paramount chief of the Dafiema traditional area, Nadomele Dukumune, has been elected unopposed as the new president of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs. Nadomele, who was from the paramount chief of the Tumut delegates took part in the elections. Earlier in his address, Kuro Cantun lauded his predecessors for establishing a less stressful convention through consensus building, which according to him held the House together and eliminated the acrimonies that went with competitive elections. He pleaded with the House and stakeholders to extend the courtesies accorded him during his tenure to the incoming leaders to ensure the progress. After several reports of teenage pregnancies in the Dziffa municipality, Madam Sophia expressed fears that the number could increase at the end of the research and blamed the situation on inadequate parental care. She has therefore called for a much stronger policy framework that will educate teenage girls on sexual reproductive health in the area. And that brings us to the end of News Roundup here in the Upper West region.
A shooting incident that led to the death of a 36-year-old man on Monday. The victim was allegedly shot by two men seen on a motorbike in what police say was a broad daylight robbery. The deceased, Maxwell, visit at Atonsu, a suburb of the Ashanti region. According to eyewitnesses, from the deceased hurriedly jumped on the motorbike and sped off. Akua District Police Commander, Chief Superintendent Christopher Osumpieni tells City
There are women who have gone on to survive and are literally living their best lives.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that one of the cautions that I would like to sound for our viewers is that anytime you see something that is odd and something that's out of place, it doesn't have to be painful for you to see a health professional, right? But some of these things, they don't start with important for us to do that. Yeah. But this weekend, it's the finale of Keyboard Idol. That's going to be an interesting conversation we'll have as well. Keyboard Idol. Let's take a look at the preparation for the finale.
To really help us appreciate everything that we need to know about this.
Well, yes, news review is up next. My name is David Kwaku.
And I am Dziffa Ametam. Of course, it's an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we do want to hear from you. Just use the hashtag Breakfast Daily to join the conversation.
And our WhatsApp line is 0550585832.
We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Salamatu. Yes, these are both me. You see, before free SHS, life could have taken two my parents had, what sacrifices they were willing to make, and whether they would send me or my little brother Issa to SHS. The other part is what would have become of me if there was no free SHS. But today, thanks to free SHS, my future is bright and promising.
Congratulations, you have an A. He's a boy.
Instead girls a chance for a better future.
There is no promise we cannot keep. quality inspection, and much more. In Accra, Tema, and Takrady, we are always available to ensure easy movement of cargo.
Auditors scrutinize Domlevo's travels. Race to Jubilee House. EC clears 12. Akua Mahama in rematch. To the Ghanaian Times. President Akua Mahama, 10 others cleared. 5 aspirants disqualified, others referred to police. Late prophet dead. Editor, 4 others win GJ awards. And hubby strangles wife 30 to death. To the Chronicle. Arrested President Thomas Volta and government not of the MPP. Welcome.
Thank you.
To my left is Roxanne Nelson Eche Dafiamapo, member. With the hope of contesting in the 2020 polls have been disqualified by the Electoral Commission. The 5 include 2 independent presidential nominees, Kofi Cranton and Marik Kofi Ghani, and 3 political party-sponsored nominees, Akwesi Dawo of the United Progressive Party, UPP, Kwesi Busumbro of the People's Action Party, to speak about how not possible it is for the Electoral Commission to rig the elections and how so far the
for this. If you follow the electoral process since the very day the opening of the new process in the midst of the crisis that we have globally, 2020 has been an unusual year, and considering the fact that across the globe it's been very difficult for all states, in fact, to reschedule their elections. There are other countries that even the citizenry protested and boycotted the electoral process. And so for us, the successes that the Electoral Commission has trod, I think they deserve a lot. When they set out to commence the registration process, there was a lot of backlash. COVID crisis, people were not going to turn out, and if people turn out, we are going to have a lot of infections and crisis and what have you. The EC gave us a firm assurance that they are going to put in place mechanisms to ensure that all eligible Ghanaians get registered in a very safe environment. So far, so good. They've been able to register in excess of about 17 million Ghanaians. Clearly, it tells you that they turned out to register. And since that activity, we've not had any cause to believe that it has led to an upsurge of the COVID-19 infections in Ghana. Again, the Electoral Commission announced the date for the opening of the exhibition. And the essence of the exhibition is to ensure that we correct the register. You check if your name is captured properly. If it's actually in a register, then you do all the necessary amendments. I think that brought up a lot of fear from the NDC. But the Electoral Commission consistently gave the assurance that they have a fail-safe mechanism in place to ensure that whatever the situation is, it's rectified. I have always held the opinion that the exhibition, the essence of the exhibition is to make corrections. So if you go and your name is not in it, there's no point to be crying over the roof.
But
That is
the
the
challenge
essence.
was with the frequency with which it was recurring, which then gave the NDC the impetus to plan on agenda from the Electoral Commission to commit some sort of electoral fraud.
For more than half of my very young age in Ghana, I have been part of the electoral process and actually part of the electoral process. I have, even not for anything, be playing active role in the last 3 elections, and I can tell you that the exhibition we had less controversy than we've had in the past. It was less controversial, it had less challenges and issues than we've had in the past. In any case, you have 17 million go to the center and realize that your name, as you try to capture on the roll, is not there. There is a registered voters we had such challenges with, and how they've tried to rectify it. So far, I doubt registered voters
of the candidates.
Yes, so then from there, the EC went on to open, nominations for parliamentary and presidential aspirants to file. So far, I think it's been very, very clean. If you follow, especially the presidential process, you remember in 2016, 2012, we had major issues when it comes to disqualification, where some aspirants even at some point had to run to court. We've had situations where some aspirants have had to be reinstated by the courts and what have you. Yesterday, they didn't just come to sit down and say, you have been disqualified, you have been removed. I think for each of the candidates, even those who have qualified, they gave the indicators and where they have fallen short and where they have been able to rectify. One of the things that I found interesting and quite exciting with what the AC did yesterday was the fact that they clearly gave us an indication that even with candidates that they found flaws in the fight, won't let you take it back. That's why he has been disqualified.
The disqualifications were announced on Monday by the EC when it provided updates on the selection of successful aspirants ahead of the elections. Dennis thinks that the process has been transparent so far, despite, I mean,
should be able to accept the criticisms in good faith. We have voted money for the exercise. If there are issues we are They brought us 11 DVDs, 11 out of 68. They use it to and above all, we have stated that she should not roll out structures that will facilitate rigging, because we will not accept a flawed election. As we speak, she has issued a memo detailing the transfer of votes. Do you know the nature of the transfer?
That process is supposed to be started today for students and security officers, beginning today up to Thursday.
Exactly.
That is something that happens even this year. It's restricted because of the embraced sense of time.
You are jumping.
I think that justification was provided.
Why?
That justification was provided because of the situation in which we find ourselves in.
Which situation?
The COVID era.
No,
in fact, the
which
movement.
situation? You have allowed, you have said that even though you open registration for a number of days, you have said that because others who were not able to register because of the pandemic, and so they found themselves outside of Ghana, and persons who immediately turned 18 after the closure of the date of registration, 1 day for them to register. So you can make those things are not acceptable. And the CI frowns on you. You don't.
register should cast their vote, and there must be one man, one vote. So are they saying they understand? We're doing the registration, you didn't provide PPEs, so we are not accepting the elections. Who did not provide PPEs? Your cameramen were all over the country.
Play the golden goal on Bet Planet today with just 20 Ghana cedis. You could win a Mercedes and 100,000 Ghana cedi worth of prizes. This advert has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet responsibly, not for persons below the age of 18.
On City TV, the news review segment. Before we went on the break, we're discussing the fallout from the announcement of the person's presidential candidate as candidate. This one from Inshiraba Anelka in Ashaiman says, we mistakenly voted for John Mahama in 2012. In 2012, and all that he did for Ghanaians was to cancel teachers and nurses trainee allowances. Keep your messages coming in 0550585832 on the WhatsApp console. Before we went on the break, we were making the point.
So the point that you're making is this. If you have a challenge with the process, you raise it now. There are laws and regulations that give you remedies to some of these things. Because at every stage, if there are concerns, there are remedies to it. You deal with it now. But here we are in October, and you are speaking of an event that is going to happen on the 7th of December and saying that you are not going to accept it. Then why are you part of the process? You might as well not file. You might as well not put your face on the ballot on the 7th of December. Because see, the way the NDC are behaving, they are behaving like two teams. You lose by 2-1, they said I won't accept the score because we played with 9 players. But when you are accepting to play with 9 players, what were you thinking? Okay. So we have a process. Each of the stages are there. If you have a challenge with the stages, there are remedies by law. You take, after all, when we're going to have the registration, they went to court. They attempted to block the process, didn't they? Yeah. And then when they went, what happened? The court ruled in favor of the EC. In any case, there's a lot of factual inaccuracies in some of the issues that the Honorable Member of Parliament raised. In the first place, to say that we are registering people when there was exhibition and the people, how are we going to have it? It is not true. In fact, register that was exhibited was done. The one-day registration that was done has also been exhibited. So if you come and sit on national TV and say that, are you going to have another exhibition, then it's either you know and you are deliberately trying to deceive all your viewers, or you don't want to talk about the fact. Okay. There has been an exhibition for the limited registration as well. Today, the NDC are here telling some of us that we are PROs for the EC. Why won't we be? When His Excellency John Mahama in 2016 was all over that's PRO for Madame Charlotte Osei and telling us about how independent the Electoral Commission as an institution is, for which reason everybody should leave them so they work with the laws, they allow the laws that guide them to do their work. Today, they are telling us that this time around the EC is no longer independent. Feel that they will not accept it. Nobody is stopping them. We went to court in 2013. Your mama should be ready with his lawyers. They should start documenting everything and be ready to go to court on the 7th of December. Because no matter what happens, by 8th of December, 9 p.m., when we have collated the results across the country,
recall. Yeah. It's the sun.
And this is
yes,
something
and
that
I'm saying that
so that's the story.
Where was this exhibition?
It was done at the at this point,
can
I think
comport
you have
yourself?
to allow.
Can you comport
to make his point for the next
lies.
but he has made
how is this a lie?
made this a point.
He's
made this point about
how
it is, how the Electoral Commission has had a lie. Honorable Roxanne, please allow me to. be in control
I'll
of the
correct
program.
it for you when you're done.
No, I don't think you should. That would disrupt the program. Thank you very much. Please make the point. You have 3 minutes.
I am simply saying
Thank you.
that you helmet, they have to have insurance. There are a lot of But because it's a rural area, they are operating. And if a man is saying,
that was key. Yeah. And all the things you mentioned are already regulation. So I really don't know which regulation they say they are bringing. The DVLE already licenses all motorbikes.
Not for commercial purposes.
No, hold on. All motorbikes.
Not for commercial
So that is not regulation.
Yes.
Making it commercial or private is not regulation. That is law. Okay, that is licensing or whatever you call it. But he says they are going to regulate because they are getting accidents and all. How does the ATA and they were in power for 8 years. These regulations were there, and yet they came to introduce a law to ban the activity. So if the same people come back 8 years down the line and say the law that we passed 8 years ago, we are going to repeal it and make sure that we give you free room to operate, and we are going to introduce regulations, you should know that there's a certain white lie there. And I have always insisted that His Excellency John Mahama alternative. It is an alternative. Motorcycle rider needs a license. Every motorcycle rider has regulations and road safety measures that they should follow, which is already enacted and is being implemented by the DVLE. So the fact is that the NDC bikes are there. One, because of the growth in our urban areas, a Duke will jump onto an Okada rider. The second reason is that the gentleman riding the Okada rider has no other economic form of survival. He is economically challenged. And so once that gap is there, he will take advantage of it. Which young man in Adabaka here riding motorcycle health and convenience? The NDC have chosen economic, and that is a lazy approach. If somebody needs to survive and is a young man in your country, what you do is you provide viable, sustainable, and safe economic activities for them. But you don't go out there and say that Dabraka and Togo embassy, for which reason they need to survive, and so let's legalize prostitution.
That's
no, it is not. It is the same thing. It is the same thing. Culturally, do we allow our citizens to die on the streets? No, it is the same thing. Because the argument is that economically the people need to survive, and if they need to survive, then let's legalize the illegality for them to operate. Shouldn't we think about the 200,000 young ladies who are prostituting to survive? Because these ladies who are prostituting, trust me, if they have an alternative economic activity, they will not prostitute.
How would Ghanaians culturally accept such a policy?
How are Ghanaians culturally accepting the dying of our young people on the street as a result of? If you get up one day and your solution is to legalize an illegality, something that is hazardous to the person, then you are dangerous and a canker to the state. So at this juncture, His Excellency John Mahama, the former president, is actually a danger to young people in this country. Talk to the Okada people. They will all tell you that if they have an alternative, they will not do what it is that urban transport system, so that people moving from
That's the question.
Hold on.
That's a legitimate question that will be asked on our congested
you see,
roads.
you do all of these looking at the because for us, it is not an alternative. Okay. It is a lazy approach. So we are introducing the transport sector recapitalization scheme to ensure that those who want to remain in the because not everybody wants to remain in the transport sector. Some of them are just there because of circumstances. Now, those who don't want to remain there are alternatives. We are still building the factories. So far, 76 of the factories are functional, which is recruiting and go to Okada.
Okay, let's move to our third story now.
No,
yes.
but
you can tie that one.
First of all,
you can tie that in.
First of all, it's sad that this gentleman can see I'd rather
the coming few weeks will witness Honorable Roxon, please. Thank you. The coming few weeks will witness interesting spectacles as the
Holding on to integrity and professionalism, our voices speak to you. We are the thread that holds society, the fire that ignites social discourse. We are defined by the voices in the waves, the ink in the papers, and expressionist idealism across social platform. We owe allegiance to one cause, freedom and justice. We are the Ghana Journalist Association. Under the theme COVID-19 and credible presidential parliamentary election,
Play the golden goal on Bet Planet today with just 20 Ghana cedis. You could win a Mercedes and 100,000 Ghana cedi worth of prizes. This advert has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
I met this guy a few months ago. I had a serious crush on him, and so did he, because he told my friend about it. I waited for him to make a move, but he didn't, and so I did. Also crushing on him, so I backed off.
and is okay with them moving on. Like you're going to be so possessive over her and make sure that you can do whatever it is to keep her.
You have every right on this planet to move on with your life. If he told you, I don't have money, and you really loved him,
different projects across the country.
There is no single school under any electoral area that has not seen the development of Honorable Muntaka.
But as a constituent, what will inform your choice of a candidate to represent you in Parliament?
My party is my community. What
What concerns you? My name is Fremedrinya.
For us to have a conversation on the health segment. And as you very well know, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Possibly cause breast cancer. Now this segment is sponsored by the Farmers Market. Farmers Market, 100% healthy and hygienic. Yes. Dr. Kelvin.
Yes, David.
How are you this morning?
Very well, and you?
I'm breast cancer, predisposed one, I should say. Yeah, that's
her risk of developing breast cancer is higher. Okay. There's also the element of fat. You know, so it's possible that you may have big breast, but there's more fat than breast tissue. Okay. You know, so that's just to put in perspective that it's not necessarily the size of your breast. So the fact that you are wearing is it a double D cup or somebody wears an A cup means that the one with the double D is more attractive. Minimum. It has to be done. Okay. And then, so these are the you cannot modify your sex, so that's a risk factor. You cannot modify your age, that's a risk factor. You cannot modify your family history, so these are non-modifiable risk factors. Then there are the modifiable risk factors. Okay. Oh, but before then, there's one more non-modifiable. It's not just all wines, it's specifically red wines.
Okay.
Because there's an element in the red wine called resveratrol, which is in the skin of the red grape, which is good. So the mini bottle of beer can have about 1 unit of alcohol, but again, it depends on the percentage of the beer we are talking about. So if you have beer of, let's say, 5% alcohol, then that mini bottle, which is about 300 mils, could actually be 1 unit, 1.5 units.
Okay.
But then the big bottle would be about 3 units. You see, so how much alcohol are you actually taking? Then there's the aspect of tolerance. The more alcohol you drink, your body sort of develops tolerance to alcohol. So if you drank 1 glass, and as they say, about any so, you know, if you can actually feel like yes, you get tipsy 1 glass. If you kept drinking that 1 glass of alcohol every single day, it will get to a point that 1 glass will not make a difference. So now you increase it to 2 because you still want to feel the impact. Now you're developing tolerance. So now you might have to drink 3 glasses before you feel the same way you're feeling before. And before you know it, 5 glasses. Meanwhile, your liver is also beginning to complain. So you are going to now start developing fatty liver disease or alcohol liver disease. Moderation. If you stick to 1 glass of red wine, yes, because there are lymph nodes there that also supply the breast. That if there's a problem, they'll get inflamed. So you must make sure that your hand is going all the way into your armpit to check for all those things. So if you find something in your armpit, don't think or don't assume that it's a joint. Don't assume that it's just, no. It could be something related to the breast. So report quickly and have it assessed. So that if it's better to have a clean bill of health than to ignore something and suffer the consequences later on.
That if it's in the family, right? So you're looking at maybe my grandmother had it. As a man, does the risk factor in terms of genetics also affect me?
Yes, it does. Once there's family
COVID-19 to operate my small business from home.
Nana told us to trust him.
The on-air contest that we've been having, Keyboard Idol, and I've been joined by Renstina for the final. The grand finale is coming on 24th of October. Good morning, Renstina.
Good morning, Kwaku.
How are you?
I'm fine. The fierce competition, the friendship that they formed along the way, and unfortunately the demise of one of the contestants, that's Chris Afilete Tamaklo. So it's been, you know, a mixed bag of things, but then the true meaning of what we are doing, which is they've been mentored. We're not going to evict 6 people, no.
Okay, so, so what's going to happen?
Okay, so we're going to start
anything if I don't get the top prize?
Well, so this is what I'll say. Everybody is walking away a winner because, as I said, getting to this stage of the competition is no small feat. So the first person, which is the ideal and the top, is 10,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
But the second person will also be receiving 5,000 Ghana cedis. The third person is receiving 3,000 Ghana cedis.
Nice.
And so the first three are receiving cash. Sponsors are making it possible so that all 7 will receive a little package that they will take away with them.
That's fantastic. So you want to tell us what some of
it's all away. I just want to say that everybody will be walking away with something, and it's not to say that you haven't done anything for this whole time. We appreciate the effort, the time that they've spent, because I'm telling you, when they're doing when they're practicing on the keyboard, it takes time, energy, effort, everything, and we acknowledge that. Yes,
absolutely. Fantastic. Any final things we need to know?
Well, so be glued to your City TV. That day will involve voting. And Asanka by Tech Aid. We thank you so much for supporting us throughout the journey. We're grateful.
Fantastic. Yes, we are grateful. And let's take a look at the prepping for the finale.
After several weeks of competition and eviction on the Keyboard Idol stage, 7 talented contestants have made it to the Keyboard Idol Grand Finale. Which of the 7 talented contestants will win the ultimate prize of 10,000 Ghana cedis? Is it Calvin, Nanayao, Joel, Erajua, Uriel, Justice, or Nana Kwaku?
Today, we're going to learn all about this policy and how it's going to transform the way our policymakers engage the fisheries sector. So we're no longer going to do a top-down approach. We're going to see all stakeholders as co-managers of the sector. I have been joined by Nana Kwaku. Conversation. If you have any questions or contributions, let us know the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550-585832. Of course, this conversation has been made possible by the support of the European Union in collaborations with CARE, Friends of Nation, and Oxfam. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine by God's grace.
It's always an honor to have you on the set.
Pleasure.
Now, talk to us about this co-management policy.
Yeah, if we say co-management, will mean an arrangement that brings the government, the regulator, and the
How
How
are you
doing?
Kojo? Thank you. I wanted to know what you in the case of Ghana. Unfortunately, for many years, we did not have any framework that guides us as to how we can practically put in place co-management system to ensure that our fisheries is properly managed. So having a national co-management policy is in the right direction and paved way for us to commence practical implementation of co-management schemes and structures in Ghana, which of course will go a long way to address some of the key challenges in fisheries, including local
to seeing the regulator establish the necessary structures that will also give way for a landing beach committee that will comprise the leadership of the fishermen at the various landing beaches. So in our case, the chief fisherman, the canoe owners, the fish processors coming together and having periodic meetings with the regulator, the Fisheries Commission in this regard. And through such meetings, the solutions to them.
Yeah.
And then it can be enforced by the local people to sanitize the system. with the rest of the population. They use monofilament net, undersized mesh size.
And light fishing has actually, it's now illegal, so you can't even do it.
Good. So what happens is that in that locality, in that area, what is their problem?
Yeah. So we can't have a one-size-fits-all approach.
That is it. Depending on area, fishers can now make input as to what our problem is and what do we think should be done to address our problem. And because it is coming from them, we could be assured of compliance, voluntary. Okay. Unlike a situation where government move about, marine enforcement units, the strength is low, they cannot be everywhere.
Okay, Kojo, let's talk about proper implementation of this coal management policy. You know, we've had instances where there's a big disconnect between policymakers and the fishers themselves on the ground. As Nana Kweja brilliantly illustrated for us, you can't have a one-size-fits-all approach when dealing with these fishermen. So moving forward, how do we implement this well, and how does the entire nation benefit if we get this right?
Needs to follow, and if they do not follow, this national policy will just be one of the white elephant policies that we have. The important step that need to follow we are not managing the fish itself. The fish is in the wild, and the people who go to catch the fish are the fishermen who are in quote hunting for the fish. So we are managing practices in the global level committee.
As far as even giving you guys a platform where you feel your voices are heard, listening.
of the fishermen.
Okay.
Because now fishermen will things like that, they would not comply. The next thing is funding for the structures. We have had instances where institutions exist, but they exist in name. For once, government, it is our expectation that government will attach some importance to this resource. And for but practically, that is not what we are doing. You know, power has always been concentrated at the center, likewise resources and that. So we expect government to be committed to this one, at least to save the resource, because the ordinary fisherman cares about the resource. It is for this reason why in the olden days,
You know, last year we heard from the finance ministry, they mentioned that we were going to do something about cycle. Fishermen everywhere were so excited. Almost 1 year in, we've not seen or heard any progress. So how do we ensure that we hold these policymakers accountable so they begin to seriously address problems that are not only affecting the fisheries sector, but are literally bleeding the country of millions of dollars?
Yes, it is very true. Now, spectators and other actors that need to act as spectators and watching government. We need to be active participants, and especially in addressing here, and we have not seen any frantic effort by government to address this cycle. In fact, so if we sit back and allow these illegalities to go on to the extent that this year, as dictated by science and by practice, the fish landings are all-time lowest. The season has been so poor. the right systems and procedures. In order for the marine resources to rebuild and provide support to contribute to sustainable development in coastal areas, including Ghana.
So end of 2020, you said?
Important issue that we need to be pushing for.
Okay, thank you. Nana Kwesi, coming back to you, because you guys are at the forefront. You deal with, you see the realities. How did you feel last year when you heard that, you know, Ghana was going to end cycle? Just mentioned ending some of these problems by the end of 2020. We are now in October. How are the chiefs
illegalities exist across our coast. But the point is that illegal transshipment that we call cycle is the most destructive. It is actually what is driving the collapse of the industry. Now, I've always said that even this year, we have gone through the bumper season, July, August, September, but go to our beaches and you made little or no. Many were the expeditions that fishers made, but little or no were what they landed. It's actually driving the collapse of the industry. And day in, day out, we hear of more trawlers being registered. You know, there has been an argument that, yes, the maximum we can contain is 48. But here we have 76. That's what the regulator communicated to us. And recently we heard that 3 more region. The president assured that yes, he agrees that this is the problem, but that save the industry. We will be sitting down and seeing the industry collapsing. And luckily for us, we have the co-management system. So we need to even sound it earlier that government should somewhere trying to justify why it has not been stopped now. So we look forward to government being committed.
Examples of this being implemented in other countries that Ghana can learn from, the co-management policy?
Yes, there's been very good examples in many other countries. And even in Senegal, in a community,
to stop cycle has not been done, and the resource is in we are in crisis because fishers are not making catch. Hardship in fishing communities is on the rise, and so it is an appeal to the regulator, the Fisheries Commission, the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, and the government for that matter, to attach some urgency to the situation at hand, to appreciate the fact that fish assistance to save the resource. The activities of these industrial trawlers are actually destroying the livelihood. Want to find themselves something doing. So for us to look on whilst the artisanal fishery collapse is not the best. So better late than never. Government should still attach some importance to this and save the industry.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
for being with us, as well as Kwejoche Yamoa from Friends of the Nation. And this Firebambo dialogue has been possible by our friends at Friends of the Nation, the European Union, Oxfam, as well as CARE. Thank you for staying for Breakfast Daily. If you missed any segment of the show, you can head on over to our YouTube page, CityTube. Like, comment, share, and don't forget